And one of the big reveals, I got this all queued up.
Awesome.
We're going to be taking a look at Toy Arc today. Zazel's in the live chat. How you doing, Zazel? And Eric from the Isle of Man joining today.
Howdy.
And what is that? That was the YouTube going. So we're over on Toy Arc. Let's take a look. I think we should start off with M.A.S.K because that's...
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the biggest news of the Toy Fair, but it certainly feels like it for me. And just a lot of people who were waiting for something to happen with M.A.S.K.
Sounded like a lot of people were really anticipating this one. So that's kind of cool. It's nice to see that. I think they've kind of pulled it off from what I can tell.
Yeah. So there's a lot of speculation going into it, and Loyal Subjects is doing them, so not Hasbro. They've licensed it out. And from the silhouettes they posted the day, it's funny, I did a live stream on it speculating what do the emojis mean, and then the next day silhouettes, and then it feels like the next day the actual toys. So they're not the originals. They look bang on, but apparently they're not just reissues of the originals, just very, very close.
The proportions of the Thunderhawk, right? That's the name of it? The proportions look slightly different somehow. I don't know if like slightly more realistic, maybe. I'm not sure.
That's the thing. The Thunderhawk. Can I get it? Can I get it? Oh dear. Okay.
Nice.
Always looked to me a little, well, very toyish. More kind of not super deformed like a mini bot, but a little more squished than a regular Camaro. So I actually thought that they kept to that, because I know Ramen Toy did their own Thunderhawk, and I think it was a little more realistic proportioned. But this one, it looks like it's retained that kind of original squat look to it.
What's interesting about this is so I didn't have a lot of M.A.S.K toys when I was a kid. I had 3 of them. The 2 of the 3 I had are pictured here. I had the Thunderhawk, and I had the green motorcycle, which I'm blanking on the names of.
Condor,
thank you. And then I had the one, I had Hondo, and the truck, the truck that basically just kind of like lifted.
Firecracker, yeah.
The Firecracker, thank you. I knew that was something like that. But those were the only 3 M.A.S.K toys I had. But Thunderhawk was kind of the go-to. I think it was the coolest functionally of the 3 I had.
I'd say it's the Optimus Prime of the line, or the Duke of the line, even though everyone wanted Rhino, but that was a higher price point.
Rhino was cool, man. That was like a rolling play set, you know?
Yeah. Mike is here. Welcome. And StreamYard can't show them, but they're showing off that Spectrum mask that I added, I feel like years ago, but finally we can use it. You know, it's funny. There's a lot of people who just, maybe they didn't watch the show a lot. And maybe they weren't really into M.A.S.K, but I feel like I talked to so many Gen Xers nearing, half a century in age, and they're like, yeah, I had this and I had that. And everyone seemed to have at least one, especially this one. A lot of people had Condor.
Yeah.
So what they've done here, I don't know if you can, do you see the mouse that's moving around on the screen here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the old figures, gonna reach one. Should position myself a little closer today. So the old figures are just...
Yeah, just almost like what? There's 7 POA or something like that, right?
Because the knees move, yeah. The knees bend.
Yeah, to fit in the vehicles.
Other than that, they're a Star Wars figure. And instead, what they're doing with the new toys, very He-Man Origins. They didn't overdo it. They're not like Marvel Legends 67 points of articulation. But those are, looks like ball jointed.
Yeah.
Shoulders. No elbow bend. Still have the knee bend. That's pretty important. I think they showed a prototype with no knee bend. And that was kind of weird, because like some of these have seats. And so I don't see how they could sit in like Firecracker without proper knee bend in it. And then it might be kind of like a G.I. Joe O-ring style.
Looks like it, yeah.
Or some kind of ball jointed leg. So some people are bummed that there's no elbow bend, but do you need it for a figure this is not a G.I. Joe. This is he's a teeny guy.
Yeah, they're tiny. I that was actually, to be honest with you, that was the one thing when and these are the same figure scale, right? I'm not I was a little bummed that they didn't make them 3/3/4 scale. Like, I kind of wanted to see that, especially after Hasbro did that matte tracker. That was the 3 3/4 scale. That would have been cool. That would have been, for me, the way to kind of complete it a little bit. Because even when I was a kid, I always wished M.A.S.K was the same size as all the other figures.
I think that's a big itch that still remains to be scratched, but they need to scratch the itches in order.
Yeah.
So the first itch is, and I guess Hasbro did it with Transformers. They reissue the originals to see if there's still an interest. And then depending on how the reissues do, they go from there. So M.A.S.K, it can't get to that G.I. Joe scale. And I saw a lot of people asking, why aren't they Joe scaled? Can't get there before you get here. You have to go in succession. And so they have to do this first step, because if they went immediately with the Joe scale, this would be twice as big, and it wouldn't cost the same price as a Vamp or a Hiss tank, because it's got all sorts of transforming moving parts that, well, I guess Joe vehicles have those parts too, but I mean, some of them are a little more elaborate, like Rhino has a lot more moving and transforming parts. So the price wouldn't be equivalent to G.I. Joe scaled vehicles. So I think they got to get here. If these sell like crazy, then Hasbro might consider, I could see like a Rhino HasLab in the G.I. Joe scale. Probably not classified scale, but in the G.I. Joe scale.
Be interesting. Yeah.
But then why bother if they're not going to go do the whole thing? Because that's what the classified vehicles are like. Every now and then they do a classified vehicle. But M.A.S.K is all about the big fleet.
So, well, and to be clear, like I'm seeing Draws's comment. I don't find these disappointing at all, but I would eventually someday love to see a 3 3/4 scale line. I know it would be, like you said, it'd be twice as big and probably 3 times as expensive. But I mean, premium collector driven toys are not exactly something that's uncommon these days. So that would be interesting.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they do look great. Zazel, good to see you. M.A.S.K had the cool toys and the catchiest opening theme song. Speaking of that opening theme song, I've licensed 2 seconds of it.
That's definitely on my top 5 list of favorite cartoon themes for sure.
I did a mashup. I don't know if you saw it on my Instagram. I took the scene of James Bond from The Spy Who Loved Me, the boat submarine car, the Wet Nelly, I think it was called.
Yeah,
and I put the M.A.S.K theme to it, and it is so perfect.
I saw that. That's great.
Like, especially with like the wheels going in and the fins coming out, and I thought, wow, live action M.A.S.K could be done right if it was done practical, like James Bond did that car. I don't want CGI, like. So they called it something like a wet submersible sub, because it wasn't a proper functioning submarine. The people in that James Bond sub had to wear like scuba gear when they were in it, because it wasn't airtight. It was just for show, right? So I'd love it if they actually built as much as they could practical effect M.A.S.K vehicles in a live action M.A.S.K movie.
There was a show, a live action show. I wanted to, was it called like Vortec, or am I confusing that with something else? It was something like that where the cars kind of morphed and transformed and stuff like that. It was on like it was one of those like late 90s TV shows.
If Mike is still in the chat, he might know, because he sent me a clip of some show in the 80s with a big truck that transformed. And I had never heard of it
Yeah.
or seen it, but
It was
that
like a ram charger or something like that transformed and morphed. I want to call it like Vortec or something like that. Maybe that
Vo-
was a different show. I'm not sure.
Vortec was another toy line that basically
Oh.
same scale as
Mhm.
M.A.S.K, and Kenner might have done it too. I'm not sure, but I do remember he sent me a clip of like it was a big rig and it could transform, and I was like, "That's M.A.S.K." But I think it was late '80s when it did come out.
Mhm. Something like that.
Shin says the vehicles would prohibitively expensive if the size increased. That's how it goes, right? Not disappointed with these reissues at all. Plus, a lot of folks get a second chance to get a toy mint in box brand new. That's why it's called the Lovestream. Because it's awesome. Vince, good to see you. It's nice that people who used to have them or never had them can have them now. For like when I first got into toy collecting, probably 15 years ago now, it was really enjoyable because it wasn't expensive, and it's really sucked to see people not be able to enjoy the experience that I had recollecting or getting stuff I never had before at these ridiculous prices. Don't know what you guys think, but the painted eyes look funky. Okay, glad you brought that up, Jessica. Yeah, when I saw these, that was one of the first things I thought. Okay, so they'll definitely not be confused with the originals, which didn't have painted eyes. The originals just had nothing, blank face. And I think something has been lost from not painting those eyes. It was like it's like the trademark M.A.S.K look to not paint the eyes. So I get it. You know, it's just a little bit extra. It's origin style, but they look unmasked like having those painted eyes. Careful what you wish for.
Well, those are particularly a little sloppily applicated, I think.
Derpy. I think the term might be derpy.
Derpy is a good one.
They're so tiny. Like
Yeah,
how are they?
it's like painting Warhammer miniatures.
Yeah.
I
Bruce
used to do that.
Sato is
Yeah,
Bruce Sato is looking really excited there. And for
yeah.
such a tiny sculpt, he definitely does look, what was he, Japanese?
I think so. Yeah.
With the high cheekbones and like they're not just standard face. Like I feel like a lot of the original M.A.S.K toys, you could really tell what they were, who they were. But for such a tiny, look, because now computers can shrink everything down, right? And look at that stash
Oh, wow.
and those eyebrows. One thing I did notice, Miles Mayhem has considerably less medals on his chest. They do not want to be glorifying the terrorist.
Interesting.
Yeah,
That's a Miles Mayhem, right? That's a great name for a villain.
yeah, yeah. And the masks.
Masks look of a little bit better quality, I think.
That's the Ultra Flash mask.
And the Ultra
Is that?
The Ultra Flash, man, that's the one depicted on the logo, right? Isn't that it?
Sometimes, well, similar.
Yeah.
Really close. Not exactly, but really close. And then there's the lifter mask. There's so many things in mask that involve levitating. Like even Spectrum, I think, can levitate things or levitate. Well, Spectrum can do anything. It's like a Mary Sue mask. And then they've got these blast effects that they're going to include, which is really cool. That's a cool bonus. Like Thunderhawk has these jets that'll be firing in the back. Venom will have these blast effects. So I like when they include these in the new Origins toys. That's a cool extra little bonus. I'm not sure what that is.
It's a nice touch. It looks like the peel out from the wheel. Probably sit it in the back wheel, I think.
Oh, that's brilliant! Like smoke.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's a nice touch because let's be honest. Most of these are going to be getting displayed and not played, right?
Yeah. That's I can see where the wheel rests now. That's actually really brilliant. The peel out. And one of the big disappointments is it's not going to be vac metal chrome. No matter how many times I see this, it's still kind of a letdown. Still, I mean, It's a mint brand new Rhino, but the one I have is in really nice condition except for all spotty, worn chrome. And I thought, well, if I can get a new one with new vac metal on it, I'm going to swap it out with, a nice one.
So if you want to fix or do a good fix on that chrome, they make I'll send you information on it. It's a chrome paint pen that looks brilliant, and it's almost as good as actual chrome. But it looks really good. Just the only bad thing about it is they take about a month to like cure, like fully dry. But it can repair old chrome really well. It's what I used to repair my my Voltron Lionbot Go Lion chrome. It looks really good.
Okay, that's a definite option then. This, I've got a Rhino. This looks exact. I mean, they say it's not an exact reissue of the mold. If you say so, it looks exactly the same to me. So they've definitely worked off of whatever the original one was. So it looks identical. Like all these parts are all identical. Even the Condor looks the same.
They did, I think, from what I can tell in these pictures, they did a very, very, very admirable job recreating all the detail. I mean, it's as I remember, what that looked like and what these looked like. It looks pretty accurate. I don't remember the rocket engines. Were those actually physical, or were those like a sticker on the original?
You mean this?
No, on the Thundercracker or Thunderhawk.
No, all the blast effects. Oh, you mean
like the engine? Yeah, look at that. I think that's extra detail, right? I don't remember.
No, the original had.
Oh no, it did have it. Okay, never mind.
Yep. See, they get revealed when the bumper comes up.
Yep.
And I'm guessing the spring effects are back because that's a button right there, just like on the original one.
So springs are a lever. Yeah,
that's one of the fun things about the M.A.S.K toys is, Transformers are fun to transform, but by the same token, M.A.S.K is easy, quick and easy, and just boom.
The best Transformers when I was a kid, I thought so at least, were the ones that were quick to transform, like the Optimus Primes and the Bumblebees, and the ones where you basically just got to pull the arms out and flop the legs down. Like Megatron was a great, arguably, figure, interesting, but man, that sucker took a long time to transform, right?
Dark Hue, however you pronounce that. I'm going to nitpick for a second. I wish these new M.A.S.K vehicles had shiny paint like the original vehicles, like the real vehicles. Yeah, they do all kind of look matte, like a matte finish, which isn't bugging me looking at the pictures, but you can definitely tell on the Thunderhawk that's a matte finish, whereas the original one has, like, look at that gleaming, shining. It's 40 years old and it's still shining like crazy. That's probably in person going to bug me. This is supposed to be a Lovestream. What's going on here? Look at those seatbelts. That's awesome.
Seatbelts.
It's an odd call. Not going gloss, although final product may vary, right?
I was actually just going to say that it's entirely possible that these promo shots are just that, and they might be assembled from 3D prints and painted. I wouldn't judge the final finish on these from these photos.
Yeah.
It's that's all manufacturing.
It's a common thing though. I mean, as soon as anything gets released, it's like sharks smelling blood in the water. They just go crazy and they really dissect and nitpick every single little image. When I try to remind myself, children's toy. Even commemorative adult collector children's toy, it's still a children's toy. So it's not fine china, it's not precious stones and rubies.
What's funny is, and I think Draws just mentioned it, the Shark and Vanessa Warfield one. That Shark vehicle was more or less that James Bond one. Wasn't that the car that turned into the sub? Yeah,
absolutely. Her Shark was definitely inspired by the Wet Nelly. definitely. And I'm hoping I hope they don't wait and for series 2, like give us that Gloria Baker shark. Like just do it. I mean, that's pretty much the biggest piece of unfinished business in the entire Mask line is Gloria was on the first episode. She was in the first season. She was all over the place in her submarine car, the Porsche. They never made it. They later on they made glad I positioned myself right in front of the Mask shelf.
There you go.
Near the end, they made her Lamborghini.
Oh, okay.
It's the Stiletto, which is pretty cool too. Actually, I think I prefer the Stiletto over the Shark, but I mean, that's me. I know a lot of other Mask fans, they want that Shark. And Ramen did one not long ago, but it's going to cost, small run, small company, a lot more than loyal subjects cranking them out at a, bigger factory.
Yeah, totally.
And what else we got here? Have you seen the video where the guy shows that these are half a centimeter taller than the original? I haven't seen that. So they're bigger. That's not a much, half a centimeter, but it's something.
Yeah.
Oh,
5 millimeters.
Micah can't remember the show. It was yeah. Someone could Google 80s transforming truck show. It might come up. First time live. Welcome, Pedro. Glad you could join us live. A long time seeing these videos. Big shout out from Brazil. Hola. Thank you very much. M.A.S.K and TF is going to make me broke. Love what I'm seeing. Backwoods, how you doing? Thanks for all the comments. Gonna try to keep going through here because we don't have all that much time today. But M.A.S.K is looking great, and Loyal Subjects is really going after those 80s properties. I believe I saw this one at a Walmart, this Rainbow Bright. So
and is this another Loyal Subjects? Okay.
Yeah, this is the Loyal Subjects panel. So I got my wife like a original Rainbow Bright inbox years ago, back when something like that was like, $15. No one cared, but it was in a box, shockingly. Nice. So I saw that at a Walmart. It's half the size. The box is half, the doll is half. But I mean, holding it in my hands, I was going to see if she wanted it, but she doesn't. But just holding it in my hands, like, wow, this really, the packaging and the look of the thing, they capture the original look and feel. So this is, I think, the right company to be taking these old properties and bringing them back. There's My Pet Monster. There's their Gem.
My Pet Monster. Those are great. Yeah, Gem.
You're
as you know, I liked that show.
Oh yeah, yeah,
it's a great show.
You put me in touch with Christy Marks some time ago, and we had a chat on the channel. And honestly, like in terms of bringing it back, just like it was, sometimes better than it was. This Gem doll, I believe, it looks way better than the original Gem doll.
Yeah,
that's not hard though, because the original Gem doll was pretty gnarly. But that's fantastic. I showed it to my wife, she's a Gem fan. She actually dressed up as Gem some years back for Halloween, made her own dress for the costume, and she thought it looked great. But she said, "Why is the dress like red? That's basically red. It's one shade from red. Such a dark, fuchsia, pink." But
what's going on with the legs in that? Does that look a little strange to you?
Yeah, it kind of looks like she's wearing pantyhose.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know if pantyhose on a doll this size works. But again, I just got to say, children's toy, not one of those high-end $400 hot toys.
Yeah.
But the face is incredible.
Yeah, the everything else looks great.
There was a company a few years ago that did a run of these Gem dolls, and they were expensive. They were hundreds of dollars, I think, because I looked into it like, oh, I'll get one for my wife, and no, it was insanely expensive, like very high-end collector's item. So this, what could this be? $30, $40?
Yeah.
So it's all about the price point. A lot of fans, I'm surprised how many fans don't understand price points. Like, they don't understand why that one's $400 and this one's $50. It's all about quantity. don't know what that is. It's people hanging out at the thing. I mean, there's lots of factors, but I'm never really shocked when I see prices for anything. I just go, well, yeah, what do you expect?
There are some things I think I can understand a higher price point, especially if it comes down to the lower production runs and things like that. But when you see figures that used to be $19.99 and within a year hiked up to $34.99, that's when I get a little sad about that. But I guess in the end, it's how much you want it.
Well, I also don't understand when the price went up a year or two ago when just everything got expensive.
Mhm.
Hasbro's stuff went crazy. Super 7 stuff is really, really expensive. And McFarlane's Batman stuff is still relatively cheap. And he says because he's taken a bit of a loss on it, but he's selling more. So things are evening out in the end. So it's still possible to charge less because he's doing it.
Mhm.
But you know what? I've just walked away. That's my life philosophy is I walk on. I see the high prices like everyone else. I just don't buy them. I go
Yeah.
buy eggs instead.
I find myself, and we've talked about this very subject before, but I don't buy everything anymore. I pretty carefully decide what I'm going to get, and I tend to collect one or two things or a character, and that's it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Hey, Chuck. Good to see you. Hello, Mr. Quake. And Rebel Scum. Doing good. Thanks. Hubert is here. Patreon tribe. Highwayman, thank
Highwayman.
you.
Yep.
That's what it was called. The
That's what.
Highwayman. Thanks, Hubert. Monzi. That's the My Pet Monster thing. Sure wish they would leave the vintage alone and have new ideas. So you should definitely not buy these. And I would hope that you would be happy for the people who are going to buy them and enjoy them. So
Well, I'll tell you what.
I don't know
These.
why
Yeah.
they would have to leave them alone because you don't want them. If you don't
These
want them, don't buy
figures.
them, but other people are
Yeah.
very excited.
These figures look fabulous. This shot and this, and seeing the detail on those, they look like they could easily be 3 3/4 scale. The paint apps look amazing here.
Yeah. Bubble Wave, good to see you. I just every time I see someone go, they shouldn't be making these. It's like when a movie, right? Like Stallone announces a new Rocky movie or any movie they bring back some old character and people go, "No, don't watch it." But there's some people who might enjoy it. So that was
Ooh, Mortal Kombat toys. What are those?
let's go through that.
Farland toy. Oh, there we go. I can get another Sub-Zero.
So I just heard that is it Mattel is getting back the DC license, but I don't know if that's for the smaller scale or if they're taking license from McFarlane, 7-inch scale. I'm not
See,
sure.
you can't probably see it even if I try to scan the camera. But Sub-Zero is another one of the characters I'll pick up a good figure of if I see it. So I'll be getting that one.
Yeah. I wonder if they're gonna do Noob Sailbot.
And just color them black.
Yeah.
break out some black spray paint and you're done.
Wow. New Mortal
Actually,
Kombat.
that'd be a pretty striking figure if you painted it with that black 4.0 paint. That's like a deep black, and it just when you photograph it, it kills any dimension or any reflection or anything on it.
Mm-hmm. Anything else you see here you want to take a peek at? Let me jump back to the main site here.
If you want to stay in the driver's seat.
They had tons. Like the coverage from Toy Ark is incredible.
Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and Dungeons and Dragons toys.
Oh,
are they doing something good with those?
I've seen some of the new. I think it's Lord of the Rings Diamond Select figures. Mm-hmm. They're really not my cup of tea. I hope people really enjoy buying them because I won't be. I've seen them like in person, and they're well, it looks like some kind of statue. But
Diamond Select is really hit or miss in my opinion. They've done some really good stuff, and I love their Tron line, and that they gave me excellent Tron figures. But I've also seen some of theirs that didn't feel quite right.
Mm-hmm.
So
The
how about
ones,
those?
the Lord of the Rings figures I saw, I thought the sculpts really weren't all that much better than the old. I think it was Toy Biz did them,
Something like that.
and they should be a lot better for the price point.
How about those Dungeons and Dragons figures? I'd be curious to see what they're doing in those. I think they're right about the middle of the page.
Is that them?
Yeah, right. Yeah, right there.
Oh
no, wait. Back one. Ah, yeah. Oh, interesting. So they're little. They're almost like
minifigs,
like Kubrick kind of things.
Yeah,
interesting. Oh, that's kind of fun.
That looks like some kind of statue from Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm-hmm. Those Hasbro D&D, the D&D cartoon figures. Oh, I really wanted those, but they're just not on my list. It's just buying stuff to buy stuff.
Weren't they also really expensive?
They were like Marvel Legends price, and they were some of those that came in the solid box, and I'd heard like QC issues of those, but I just thought they looked great. They were kind of something I always wanted.
Definitely looking forward to these, especially a complete vintage item. He's talking about M.A.S.K, Hello Katie, Highwayman's sidekick. Turn it into a highwayman chat. Sidekick had a different truck that was a missile carrier. That was the one I was thinking of. Mattel and DC announced a Motu crossover. And hey, Scott, Ramen Gullwing versus Loyal Subjects Thunderhawk is very interesting, talking about price points. Some John Wick toys. What'd you think of the John Wick movies?
I loved them. The ones I've seen, I've actually only ever seen the first two. But they're very enjoyable. I think they're very well done. They created kind of an interesting, mythology and kind of world with them too. I thought it was really interesting.
Now, Matt on Armchair Directors loves all of them. I think there's 4 of them. Loves them all. I love the first 2. I think you quit while you were ahead, because like by the third one, it just started. I got fatigue from all of the non-stop killing. It actually didn't bug me in the first 2 movies. They're video game movies.
Yeah, basically.
So I was surprised that it didn't fatigue me by the end of the second movie, but by the halfway through the third one, I'm like, oh my. And then the fourth movie, like, oh, like learn a new trick. It's just non-stop. But I am looking forward to a 5th one, if they ever do one.
They kind of gave off of, at least the sequels gave off the kind of vibe that like Fast and Furious movies did for me, where they started out kind of in one direction, got a little slightly more ridiculous in each subsequent sequel, until like the movies are releasing now and the franchise aren't. It's like not even the same universe as the first couple of movies, that kind of thing. Now I'm excited about too, the retro collection update. I think they're doing a lot of figures that fans have been clamoring for a long time. Now, some of these have been done by, third parties and stuff, and I've seen comments on who did them better and everything. But it's nice seeing an actual Hasbro release that might actually be somewhat affordable.
You get the whole wave at Big Bad Toy Store for under $100 or something close to it.
Well, I think the last pack they did of these things were like, they weren't that much. I wanted to say it was like $69.99 or something like that for the pack of the 6 of them. Something like that. It wasn't all that much. I picked it up.
I grabbed my wherever he may be, my reissue Return of the Jedi Luke. I don't know, it was like $10-15.
Yeah.
Compared to custom carded, custom 3D printed or cast for $50-60. That's an old piece of unfinished business.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper, because I think they did Stormtrooper Luke in the original line.
They did. Yeah, he was one of the last 17. He's actually exceptionally expensive now to pick up.
Okay. So that's
yeah.
So now some of the guys who grew up on this stuff are getting to work for the company, and you're getting some inside influence. Like they never did Avazan and Ponda Baba. We need to do those guys. And a Sand Trooper.
It's funny. The one thing when I saw this, I was a little bummed because the Ponda Baba, the Walrus Man, who That's the one retro figure that I would love to have seen them update to be just a little more screen accurate. Like, it would have been cool here if they would have done a retro style, but in essentially like an accurate costume, because that was the thing. Like, all the cantina scenes, and I'm staring at my own vintage collection right up here, and I've got all the old original cantina aliens, and they're all off because Hasbro had like really bad photos, and in some cases they only had photos of the heads and all that sort of stuff to work from. So they're all very inaccurate. It would have been interesting to see a more accurate, like Walrus Man and Greedo and stuff like that. I think Stan Soul has done a bunch of those anyway, but it'd be cool to see them from Hasbro.
In my opinion, I feel like the mask sculpts, especially even on the new Loyal Subjects, look better than these, which are a bigger scale. Like this, that doesn't look like Luke.
These I always leave a little bit of room for, because I don't think even the vintage line didn't look even remotely like any of these characters either, in my opinion.
Okay, so staying true.
Yeah, so I think it's kind of true to have that old sculpt that looks like it was done by somebody with unsteady hands out of wax, that kind of look. That I'm willing to forgive a little bit, because I do think it's like era accurate,
Okay. And another look at the Gem toys. This is, I think, more what the original Gem doll looked like. She didn't really have that bright pink hair. So, and those My Pet, little tiny guys. My Pet Monster. Oh, they're doing some like keychains and stuff too. Gonna be a whole bunch of new My Pet Monster stuff. Monzie. That's nice. Playmates Monster. Ooh, Turtles. Always doing great Turtles reissues, and for so cheap too. Like $15 for a Turtles figure these days is really cheap. And this is great. This caddy, whatever it's called, is really expensive for some reason. If you want a vintage one complete, it'll break the bank. And here we go. I love it when a company is like, oh, is that really in high demand and really expensive? Maybe we should reissue it. So I kind of want to get one for my Cops shelf, not Turtles, but like, wouldn't Big Boss look great in this with Dr. Bad Vibes driving? Oh, and that the mutant module, they reissued the Technodrome. It shrunk it a bit, but still, I mean, there it is, and hundreds of dollars cheaper than an original vintage mint condition one. I just love how Playmates doesn't worry about the wrath of the vintage collectors. And like, I don't know how many times they've reissued Turtles figures. It feels like they do it every 2 or 3 years. Reissue the same ones. A whole bunch of others coming too. This is the really obscure stuff.
Yeah. I think one of the things I like, and Turtles were, just anybody watching, this was about 3 years later than I was like really into toys. Like when I was a freshman in high school is when Turtle Mania was out. And like my friend's little brother was a big turtle collector, and he had like all the toys. And I always thought they, like, visually they made a fantastic looking collection. There was so many different characters that were a lot of them were so weird.
Yeah. This guy.
Yeah.
The mutagen man. It's like a floating brain with eyeballs.
Yeah, like there's some real creativity in the designs of these figures. I think it's really cool.
This guy always makes me smile. Mutagen, just seeing him. Maddie's a big fan too from Patreon, but this guy, something about him is just like, always cracks me up. We don't have much more time here, but let's just breeze through.
Yeah, I've got about 10 minutes, unfortunately.
And I'm going to be back possibly on Friday to be talking with Travis from A Toy Kind of Mood about some of this stuff too, to get some of his favorite picks if everything works out work-wise. Awesome. But some wrestling legends. These, I mean, I'm a huge wrestling fan, but I feel like, there's been so many of each guy. Like, that's a great Jake the Snake. There's been 20 Jake the Snakes before that. We're just cycling through It's great for the people who missed the first 10.
What's
But
the Masters line up top? The Master of the Universe Origin.
oh,
Master.
here we go. This would be a good one to close with.
Oh yeah.
All
That's
right.
cool.
Awesome. Shadow Weaver. So Super 7 did one years ago that was perfect. That fits right in with the old ones. This one looks pretty. Is this Origins? Yeah, I think it's Origins. It's like the Filmation cartoon line. So this one's nice too. They never did a Shadow Weaver in the original line. So you'll be able to add that in. Hordak looks great. Animated. That's Faker.
Oh, is it Faker?
Nice. You can tell by the glowing white eyes.
Yeah.
And that's Orko's uncle, I believe.
Huh.
Bo from the She-Ra show.
Yeah. I like those animation style ones. Those are cool.
Mm-hmm. It feels like that's where they would have went if they hadn't canceled the show and canceled the toy line. There's a funky looking She-Ra.
Doesn't really look anything like the cartoon, does it?
No, it's just kind of like a new interpretation. This is Flying Fist He-Man. That kind of looks like Masterverse. So like a modern interpretation of that character. Oh, the Thundercats He-Man crossover.
That is interesting, I think. That is really interesting.
There's Battle Cat. Battle Cat gets like a biped figure with claws.
That's cool. Those are neat.
Quite a few of them. Panthro.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I think for some of them, if you take the gear off, you pretty much get like a Thundercat figure the way he originally looked. I feel like the Chitara, there was a Chitara where if you took all the crossover gear, you basically got Chitara from the original show. Well, that's cool. It holds her little staff when it's collapsed.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
And then I think they're just straight up reissuing the originals.
Looks like it. Yeah.
That's what these two look like. So not even with the little Origins upgrades. A little bit more paint.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Might be a little bit of metallic fleck on there.
I got that. Yeah, I got that version 2 of the Motu Origins figures, just because it had the updated face. The original, the first version of the face was kind of it didn't look like the original. But the Skeletor is the first one. Anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, you got to be rolling out. Want to thank you for joining me and also for the mug.
Hey, there it is.
The mug of man, but it's been fun chatting Toy Fair with you.
Yeah, definitely interesting stuff. And I haven't a lot of this I hadn't even seen before. I hadn't really kept up with the pictures that were coming out. So it's a first for me in many respects as well. So thank you.
And got to have you back soon to go through the book, like I went with Hans earlier this week, the Art of G.I. Joe Omnibus.
Oh, yeah.
So I think that would be a lot of fun to go through with you too. You're an artist like Hans, and it was really cool talking with Hans and hearing about all of his artist perspective. Things I'd never noticed before, like all of the guns on the vehicles are shooting up towards the lines that come out of the G.I. Joe logo. Always. Look at any G.I. Joe vehicle, they're shooting at the lines, which brings you to the logo. So we'll set that up as well. And we need to do the Tron Legacy commentary.
Oh yeah, we got to do Tron Legacy chat for sure.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right. Well, I'm going to stick around for a few minutes and try to get through some of these chats, but have a great night in the Isle of Man.
Thank you very much. Have a great night, everybody in the chats, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks a lot, Eric. See you.
Bye. Take care.
And let's add this. And I'm just going to go through some of the comments here before I sign off. Like I said, I'll be back on Friday, hopefully, in case just as long as no gigs come up for Travis. But let's get through some of these comments that I missed earlier. Gunstar's here. Hey, welcome to the stream. Wonder if the Condor chopper blades are better constructed. That's a good point. I mentioned that during the last M.A.S.K stream, how it's just plastic that bends. And if there's one little thing, let's go back to that. See if we can see what the engineering is on that. Let's see. M.A.S.K. Where's that condor? We may not be able to see. I'm going to guess it's exactly like the original one was. Or maybe, is that a pin? It's kind of hard to tell. Especially with the angle. Let's see if we got a better, closer picture of it anywhere. Not there. Nope. It's hard to tell, but that might be a pin, like a separate piece. It's hard to tell what that little dot there is, if it's just a piece of flash or if it's an actual piece that pops onto another piece. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, because that's not really all that obvious there. They said they can scan the 80s toys to make new ones. Seems like that's what they did. Scan them and maybe tweak them a bit after that, but they're really close. Absolutely. Yeah, both nights. Definitely. The last show was great. The Elimination Chamber. Had a lot of fun hanging out with the Retro Wrestling Tribe on that. Not sure if we're going to live stream WrestleMania. Guess we'll see if anyone's available for it. But we'll see, I guess. That's a heck of a lot of wrestling for one weekend, but I mean, WrestleMania is the big show of the year, so we'll see what happens. I hope they do a Shark and Vanessa Warfield vehicles, Shark especially. But yeah, if you do Shark, Vanessa Warfield and her, I think it was Manta, is a given. Hasbro, the General Motors of toy sales. Why is that? I thought it was for price instead of safety. I guess it's dangerous if it flecks off. But I mean, Super 7 does some Chrome Silverhawks. They charge a lot more for the Chrome versions instead of the non-Chrome versions, but it's still possible. They have some like flecking off problems with some of their Chrome versions too, but not impossible. Which one of y'all ate the chrome plating? Now we can't have it. Okay. Mr. Quake says we need a M.A.S.K and Transformers collab. Yeah, Rhino, Optimus Prime as Rhino would be something pretty interesting. Definitely looking forward to these, especially because complete vintage item is very expensive. Yeah, everything vintage is expensive these days. Let's get caught up here. Still shocked that Cena is now a heel. Yeah, that was pretty shocking, but I kind of called it. And even during that stream that we were doing, I said, why would he cut that promo that he did during I think it was during the press conference after Royal Rumble. It was a really like self-absorbed promo where he said him main eventing WrestleMania and winning the title is best for business. And I just kind of smelled a heel turn coming. So I wasn't all that surprised. Any news about Star Trek ships, as in the past from Diamond Select? I haven't followed this really closely, so I have no idea, but I've got a few Diamond Select Star Trek ships, and they're amazing. So I hope that they would continue making those. They did a great job on the ones I have. Are they going to give us Skeletor / Shredder hybrid figure? Oh, they are going to. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool crossover. Good that Loyal Subjects is finally getting M.A.S.K back from Kenner Hasbro after. Well, they're not getting it back. They're licensing it. Hasbro still owns Kenner and they own M.A.S.K, so Loyal Subjects is just paying a licensing fee to make them. Hasbro can do whatever they want whenever they want, basically, I believe, or until the contract is up. I think if Hasbro wants to do 3 3/4 M.A.S.K toys today, they can. Loyal Subjects has no say in the matter. Really happy to see M.A.S.K stuff. Me too. Very happy M.A.S.K is back. And I'm back. Press the wrong button. Get that window back. There we go. Yeah, Eric, thanks a lot again for joining. That was a lot of fun, and we'll have Eric back on very soon. Brad's hair matches the brown from the... Oh, that's a good point. Did notice some differences on the M.A.S.K toys. And yeah, the original Brad Turner's hair, I believe, is black. So they've made him a little more cartoon accurate. Oh, glad you enjoyed that one, Draws. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, that was a long one, but it kind of felt like it flew by. The first 2.5 hours was especially long for me because I was wearing chainmail. I was rocking the chainmail in honor of Scott Steiner, and after 2.5 hours, it started to really dig in, you could say, and it left my forehead looking like Dusty Rhodes, baby. But it went away overnight. But yeah, that was fun. That was the longest I've ever worn my chainmail. Fun stream. What do you think of the G.I. Joe Reaction Plus? I don't know what that is. Fill me in on what that is. G.I. Joe Reaction Plus. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. Speaking of G.I. Joe, I'm going to head over to histank.com. And they had a couple of reveals at Toy Fair, I believe. Classified reveals. So one of the funny things about these reveals here, was it the Flint card art? It's AI generated, right? 1, 2, 3. One of the card art pieces has 6 fingers, unless someone like photoshopped that as a joke. I remember seeing something about one of the figures having... Oh, it was Wild Bill. I think it was Wild Bill. Let's take a look here if I can zoom in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers. 6 fingers for Wild Bill. Nice improvement for the retro line of Reaction G.I. Joe with the ball joints now. Oh, that's cool. O-ring figures for G.I. Joe. Yeah, okay. I've seen some of the Super 7 O-rings, and they look cool. It's a cool idea to do cartoon figures that were never released back then. Especially like figures like this. Thanks for the clarification, Draws. Reaction Plus equals O-ring figures for G.I. Joe and a few others popped at Toy Fair. Okay. So cartoon accurate Wild Bill is cool. Winter Gear Cobra Commander is cool. We saw him a lot on the show. This is very cool. Cold Slither's Artan with a guitar and a microphone. It's exactly the type of stuff I was hoping that they would do. Show looking Snake Eyes. It's kind of purpley. I've never really been into purple Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes is black for me. So I've passed on a lot of the purple Snake Eyes. Yeah, that Wild Bill is nice. Still no Viper. I'm surprised they haven't done him. He's a big favorite. And some classified reveals. Cold Slither. I haven't kept up on the classified stuff. for probably a year or more. They just did so many, and this is a great one, Darklawn, Destro's cousin. They did so many great ones. I just got very satisfied. Is that a tongue coming out of his mask? Heavy Duty. Yeah, they all look great. But I just got really happy with what I had and what I've seen. So I'm glad it's still going strong, but it's just not something that I've got the space or the budget to keep up with. Great looking Footloose. They should have had Footloose. I'll give a shout out to Mike from What's on Joe Mind. Displaying Footloose here, they should have had him holding a Destro up over his head. If you know, you know. Great looking Law and Order. Fantastic. Is that Frag Viper, Crystal Ball with possibly lenticular shield. Polar Bear to go after the radiation sickness Snake Eyes. Cool. Big armor. Kind of looks like snake armor. Oh, it is snake armor. Wow. Classified snake armor. That looks really cool with the harness. And controls in there. Wow. Nice job on that. It's deluxe snake armor. Beautiful job on that. And that's going to be it for me. Go back screen here. Thanks everyone for hanging out. The snake armor is more of a mech suit, but a gutsy call to make. Yeah, it's a gutsy call to make any classified vehicle. That's a lot of money. Is there a confirmed release date for the Joes? I think you just keep an eye on His Tank or Hasbro Pulse, and I'll let you know. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Drew, thank you. Appreciate that. And thanks for watching. Thanks, everybody. Lots of comments in here today. Yes, it was, or tried to keep it a love stream. Lots of cool reveals. Happy that M.A.S.K is back. And I'll be talking more Toy Fair, getting Travis's take on Toy Fair on Friday. Keep an eye on the channel for when that's going to be. I think it's going to be later in the night, around 9 o'clock Eastern. So I'll see you all then. And until then, let me play this. And that as well. Have a good night, everybody. Take care.